Well, folks, so look, no one asked me, but I watched a new Snow White film starring Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler. And I have some questions, not deep, not philosophical, more like, well, maybe more the blatant obvious, but we can get to that. Now, let's just get this out of the way. Gal Gadot as the evil queen, I think she was pretty good. She struts through the film like a fashion-forward villainess on a mission to murder through mirror validation. She brings exact hot menace energy this role demands. Frankly, if the mirror told me she wasn't the fairest, I'd ask for a second opinion. Then you've got Rachel Zegler as Snow White. And listen, Rachel is talented, great voice, great singer, earnest performance. But calling this character Snow White feels like a dare, and maybe this was part of where the initial criticism and where all this thing started exploding initially when she came up with the idea. Now, there's no snow, there's no literal whiteness, a frosty fairy tale sense anyway. She looks more like she grew up drinking matcha on the Amalfi Coast. The woodland creatures were clearly confused as well. I swear one squirrel, I think in the second quarter of the film, gave the camera a bit of a Jim Halpert look when she introduced herself, probably scratching her head. Now, partly the thing I found a bit odd about this film in that very context is the fact there was so much backwards and forwards and why she wants to make the film more progressive. But then the problem is, even with the very script writers, it's like the mum and dad said because she was so white, that's why they named her Snow White. But a bit of a contrary to the reality, which I'm a bit head-scratching moment. But the real twist is, I think for me, more cheesed off a lot of people were the dwarves, or rather the total magical lore shattering absence of dwarves anyway. Instead we get some sort of enchanted community of emotionally diverse misfits. Are they more like squatters and miners? Are they freelance hikers? It was very unclear. But it's as if the Disney said, let's remake Snow White, but remove everything that defines it and replace it with a strong sense of vague. But also, I think it's worth, can we talk about this dad of Snow White, the king, for a guy who gets a lot of mention and credit throughout the film, especially a lot of screen time. He contributes about as much as the plot as a motivational coaster, if you ask me. There's a whole subplot devoted to him and his fatherly journey of, well, I don't know exactly. Making vague declarations about destiny, it's like they dropped it, deleted scenes from a different medieval drama. Now, credit where it is due. The visuals were fantastic, the magic effects shimmer, the Queen's palace looks like a Versailles meets Pinterest. The forest is lush and vibrant throughout the film. Disney's art department definitely showed up, and if the writers were off finding new ways to stretch the runtime. Speaking of runtime, which I'm going to get to this, the final quarter of the movie had me a little bit puzzled. I don't know if it's just me, I'd imagine a few others would have been a bit puzzled too. If you watched the original film in the 30s, I don't know if it's legally classified as a bonus content. The original animated version ended up with a dramatic kiss and a satisfying happily ever after. This one, it ends like a group WhatsApp chat with no clear goodbye. They just kind of kept going until eventually someone presses the stop, slams a book at the end. So was it terrible? Simple answer is no. Was it confusing? A little, yes. It's like ordering a classic kind of fairy tale receiving a deconstructed gluten-free reinterpretation that insists it's still the same thing. But the biggest bonus question, would I watch it again? Simple answer would be yes. If we were to give it an out of 10, I would say a solid 6.